Module 7. It is registration of drug and dossier preparation, CTD and eCTD submissions. In this we will see the country-specific registration process in the form of dossier. What is dossier? It is a collection of administrative, chemistry, manufacturing and controls, clinical and non-clinical data of a particular drug which is to be registered. Pharmaceutical dossier is the collection of detailed documents containing information about a particular drug which require extensive data to be attached on the dossier for submission to regulatory authority for grant of regulatory approval in any country with which a licensed product must be registered or approved for the manufacturing, marketing, use, distribution, or sale of such licensed product in the field. It is more commonly called as IND or NDA or ANDA in USA. Marketing authorization application in European Union and other countries, it is simply called as registration dossier. Dossier is required to be prepared as per the internationally accepted format, that is CTD Common Technical Document and ACTD, that is Asian Common Technical Documents. In further slides, we'll see the difference in the CTD and ACTD. This is the CTD triangle which we have seen in the previous modules also. It has two parts, that is a non-CTD part and the CTD part. It has 5 modules. Module 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Module 1 is all about the administrative information which is country specific. That is why it is not a part of CTD. Module 3 is all about the CMC information. This is the quality part of the dossier. Module 4 is all about the non-clinical data. Module 5 is about the clinical summary, clinical study data. Coming to the module 2, it is the summary of module 3, 4 and 5, which includes quality overall summary of drug product and drug substance, non-clinical overview, non-clinical summary, clinical overview and clinical summary. So, the dossier is required to prepare as per the internationally accepted format, that is in CTD and ACTD, so as to reduce the time and extra working for registration of single product in multiple countries. There is a huge contribution of ICH in this for standardizing and bringing the concept of internationally acceptable format known as Common Technical Dossier CTD, containing 5 modules. This we have already seen, and having importance of each module for justifying the quality, safety, efficacy and toxicity of the drug which is acceptable by all the main regulatory bodies, that is USA, Europe and Japan, for submission and accepting the documents as per the requirements of ICH guideline and compilation of the dossier as per the format mentioned in ICH M4 guideline. CTD, Common Technical Document. It is a set of specifications for application dossier for the registration of medicines and designed to be used across Europe, Japan and United States. This was developed by the European Medicines Agency EMA Europe, the Food and Drug Administration, that is US FDA, and Ministry of Health, Labour and Welfare Japan. This CTD is maintained by ICH requirements for registration of pharmaceuticals for human use. The agreement to assemble all the quality, safety, and efficacy information in a common format has revolutionized the regulatory review process. CTD is only a harmonized format for submission of information to relevant regulatory authorities. It is a template for presenting data in the dossier, and it is a guideline that merely indicates an appropriate format for the data that have been acquired. This is all about the CTD. CTD is not a statement of data for application of data, or it is not a guideline that intends to indicate what studies are required, and it is not a definition of a content. It should have clear and unequivocal information. CTD have a style and font size that is large enough to be easily readable. It follow the ICH guidelines for documentation, pagination, and segregation. The submission requirements are mentioned in the CTD guidelines. The methodology of CTD is there. It gives proper information of source of bulk drugs for manufacturing finished formulation. Let's see evolution of CTD. Effort over the past 15 to 20 years of ICH of technical requirements for registration of pharmaceutical for human use have resulted in a unified dossier for drug applications. CTD was officially signed off in November 2000 at 10th anniversary of ICH San Diego, California. In 1995, the concept of CTD was proposed by the industry. In November 2000, the ICH CTD guidelines were finalized. In September 2002, the guidelines re-edited with membering two sections header changes. Prior to July 2003, the voluntary submission phase in three ICH regions. 1st July 2003, mandatory requirement in three ICH regions. In 2009, in India, CDSCO adopted CTD format for technical requirement for registration of biological products. And in October 28, 2010, in India, CDSCO give guidelines for feedback purpose for industry on preparation of CTD for import or manufacture and marketing approval new drug for human use, that is NDA, and ask comments and suggestion within 60 days. This is all about the evolution of CTD. This is the CTD format. The CTD is organized into 5 modules. We have seen it in the CTD triangle also. Module 1 is region specific, and module 2, 3, 4, and 5 are common for all regions. Conformance with ICH guidelines should ensure that these 4 modules are provided in a format acceptable to WHO and regulatory authorities. We have seen in the diagram the modular structure of ICH CTD shows that Module 1 is not a part of CTD. It contains only the regional information or administrative information. And Module 2, 3, 4, and 5 are a part of CTD. ACTD, that is Asian CTD. Asian countries Association of Southeast Asian Nations. ASEAN stands for Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which includes Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Brunei Darussalam, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia. All these countries follow ACTD format. This ASEAN ASEAN was established in 1967 by the governments of five countries: Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. In 1984, Brunei and Darussalam joined. Vietnam has become member since 1995, Laos and Myanmar since 1997, and Cambodia since 1999. The ACTD gives the information on the format and structure of dossier that shall be commonly used for application in the Asian region. For pharmaceuticals, efforts to develop harmonization schemes of pharmaceutical regulations in ASEAN to facilitate trade in pharmaceuticals continued, and for this ACTD covering administrative data, quality, safety and efficacy, and an Asian common technical requirements covering quality, safety and efficacy had developed. The ACTD is the part of marketing authorization application dossier that is common to all the Asian member countries, while the ATCR, that is Asian Common Technical Requirements, it is a set of written materials. These are the guidelines intended to guide applicant to prepare application dossier in a way that is consistent with the expectations of all the Asian drug regulatory authorities. This is ACTD triangle. In previous slides, we have seen CTD triangle. It has five modules. This is ACTD triangle. It has four parts: part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. Part 1 is all about the table of contents, administrative data, and product information. Part 2 includes the quality document. Part 3 is about the non-clinical documents, and part 4 is for clinical documents. As we have seen it in the triangle, this is the ACTD format which has four parts. Let's see the difference between the CTD and ACTD format. First column is for ICH-CTD format, second is for ACTD format. In ICH-CTD, it consists of 5 modules, and ACTD, it has 4 sections or parts. In CTD format, in ICH-CTD format, module 1 is for administrative part. Similarly, part 1 of ACTD format also contains administrative documents. This module basically consists of administrative documents like application form, legal documents like GMP or licenses, and labeling part. Coming to module 2, in ICH-CTD module 2 is for quality overall summary of the drug substance and drug product. In ACTD format, section 2 or part 2 is for quality overall summary, and section 3 and section 4. This module consists of module 3, 4 and 5. It consists of quality overall summary, non-clinical overview and summary of clinical overview. In ICH CTD, module 3 is all about the quality documents, and in ACTD, all the quality documents are submitted under part 2 or section 2. As per ICH CTD format, in module 4 we submit non-clinical documents, and as per ACTD format, all the non-clinical data is submitted under section 3 or part 3. As per ICH CTD format, in module 5 we submit all the clinical documents, and as per ACTD format we submit all the clinical data in section 4 or Part 4. So this is the difference between the CTD and ACTD. This is the regulatory filing and registration of product in regulatory authorities. We know that our product is a combination of API and excipients. We pack our products, for that we use packaging materials. So we get our API from the API manufacturing unit, which is audited, and we get our excipients after vendor finalization, and accordingly after vendor finalization we get our packaging materials. Then we develop our finished product. It goes for bioequivalence studies or clinical studies by CRO. Then after study we do the dossier preparation and compilation of documents. Then we go for dossier submission to regulatory authorities. Then the dossier goes for evaluation. After evaluation, manufacturing site inspection is done, and accordingly we get the dossier approval. This means finally our product is registered. This is all about the regulatory filing and registration process. In this slide, we have taken an example of NDA submission to US FDA. How exactly it goes for the registration? The applicant files the NDA. It goes for screening. After that, it goes for review by CDER. There are different teams which review the application: medical team, pharmacology team, chemistry team, biopharmaceutical team, statistical or microbiology team. All the departments review the dossier, and after the advisory committee meeting and meeting with the sponsor, the review goes to the second stage, and after all the considerations it reaches for NDA action. This is just an example of NDA submission process. In this slide, we have taken an example of ANDA submission to the agency. See, the applicant files the ANDA. If it is acceptable, then it will go to the review by OGD or CDER. If it is not acceptable, then the applicant will receive refuse to receive letter. If it goes to the OGD or CDER for review, the different teams are going review the dossier or the ANDA. But there are different teams like bioequivalence review team, plant chemistry or microbiology review team, and labeling review team. Uh, Simultaneously, the plan goes for the inspection. After this, if the review is acceptable, bioequivalence review is acceptable, then we'll go for the next stage, or we will receive a deficiency letter. If chemistry, microbiology or labeling is acceptable, it will go to the second stage. If it is not, then we'll get a deficiency letter or not approvable letter. And after this, we get, after inspection, we get the ANDA approval. So this was all about the ANDA submission process. Coming to European procedures, similar to the US requirements, there are two regulatory steps to go through before a drug is approved to be marketed in European Union. These two steps are clinical trial application and marketing authorization application. There are four types of procedures in this: centralized procedure, national procedure, mutual recognition procedure, and decentralized procedure. The centralized procedure is one which allows applicants to obtain a marketing authorization that is valid throughout the European Union. And centralized process is compulsory for those medicines which are derived from any biotechnology processes, such as genetic engineering, and it is compulsory for those medicines which are intended for the treatment of cancer, HIV or AIDS, diabetes, neurodegenerative disorders or autoimmune diseases, and other immune dysfunctions. It is also compulsory for medicines officially designated as orphan medicines, that is, medicines used for rare diseases. This was about the centralized procedure. Then is national procedure. Nationalized procedure is one which allows applicant to obtain a marketing authorization in one member state only. Coming to mutual recognition procedure, this allows applicants to obtain a marketing authorization in concerned member state, that is CMS, other than the reference member state, that is RMS, where the drug is previously approved. Last is decentralized procedure. Using this procedure, companies may apply for authorization simultaneously in more than one EU country for products that have not yet been authorized in any EU country and essentially do not fall within the centralized procedures essential drug list. This is a pictorial representation of EU marketing authorization procedures. You may please have a look. This is the flow diagram for centralized procedure. When we file a marketing authorization application, this is the start of procedure, that is day 1. It goes for assessment report from co-rapporteur on day 70. Then CHMP provides its comments on day 115. CHMP forwards to applicant list of questions on day 120, it is the stop clock. Then the submission of response by the applicant on day 121. Then there is a joint assessment report on day 150. Then we receive the comments by CHMP on day 170. CHMP decision on need of oral explanation by applicant on day 180. Then oral explanation by applicant, that is restart of clock on day 181. After this, the final draft of English SPC leaflet and labeling by applicant to co-rapporteur, EMEA or CHMP on day 185. Then CHMP opinion will be received on day 210. This is the flow chart for centralized procedure. This is a flow chart for mutual recognition process. Applicant submits the application to RMS and CMS. Then reference member state validates the application on 90 days. Reference member state distributes assessment reports to CMS. Then CMS validates the application. It again takes 90 days. Then CMS approves the assessment report. And then marketing authorization in each of the CMS is received. This is about the mutual recognition process. Next is decentralized procedure. This is the flowchart for decentralized procedure. Applicant submits the application to the RMS and CMS. Then it goes for validation on 70th day. Then RMS distributes the preliminary assessment report to the CMS. After 35 days, the RMS sends preliminary assessment report and all comments of the CMS to the applicant. Then clock stops, applicant responds, and then clock runs within 15 days. Then RMS sends draft assessment report to the CMS and applicant. Then CMS approves the assessment report. It takes 90 days or less. And then the marketing authorization in RMS and each of the CMS is granted. This was about the decentralized procedure. This is the flow chart of drug approval process in India. The applicant sends the application to the ethical committee and simultaneously the IND application filing to CDSO headquarters. The application goes for examination by new drug division. Then it goes for detailed review by IND committee. Then the DCGI recommendation is issued. Then IND application is approved. On the other side, when the applicant submits the application to ethical committee, the ethical committee prepares a report. If it is positive, then within 12 weeks we can start clinical trial, and then the application for new drug registration to CSO is started. Then it is reviewed by DCGI. If it is complete, then the license is granted. If it is not complete, then the application is refused to grant license. This is the drug approval process in India. In this module, we have seen the registration of drug and dossier preparation. We have seen what is dossier, what is CTD format, what is ACTD format, and registration process in US, Europe, and India. Now, what's next? Best of luck for the next module.